Hello and welcome back to the Star Family Wisdom Podcast. I'm Jenna Layden, your host. It's so good to be here with you today. I'm doing an audio only episode because I'm still in a really deep integration process. If you listened to, I think, 2 episodes ago, I shared an update on my journey this year and what's been happening, the levels of consciousness that have been activated, the expansion, the transformation. It has been rapid and intense and beautiful. And I'm just taking it easy and staying off camera a little more these days while we wrap up the year. But I wanted to share an observation slash memory related to the mantis family. So, if you've been following along for a while, you might be familiar with the fact that I have a connection with ET beings. I have remembered past lives from other civilizations. I have engaged in ET contact in this lifetime, in this human lifetime here on Earth. And that has been facilitated by a soul bond. When we have deep soul level bonds with each other, that strengthens our ability to communicate with each other telepathically from an extrasensory, perspective. And this has been developing for me over the years. And I won't get into all of the details as to how I feel confident in this understanding of this connection. You can go back to past episodes to learn more about that. But suffice to say, and to my complete and utter surprise at the time, my soul has a connection with the mantis beings. And mantis beings are all over the cosmos. They're an insectoid race of beings. We have many, many, many different races of ET beings out there. You can think about the diversity on Earth as being somewhat reflective of that. And you can think of all of the different life forms on Earth having higher expressions of themselves. So as human beings right now, there are other humanoid beings out there that are experiencing a higher divine expression of what it means to be a humanoid being. And same is true for a lot of the animal and insectoid types of species that we have on Earth. There are higher levels of those beings out in the cosmos. So, so my soul has a connection to extraterrestrial mantis beings. I have had lives in that civilization. The mantis beings work with all different races throughout the cosmos and are particularly interested in the cultivation of planets, are interested in the creation process, are interested in supporting the positive evolution of the universe through the creation process and through the creation of other beings, through the hybridization of species. We are just waking up on Earth to like what goes on out there. So if this is already too much or too out there, I hear you. I too, at one point was like, are you kidding me? Oh my goodness. How am I accessing, some of this information and these memories? And I'll share one brief memory before I get into some of the observations that have come through this year for me, related to the mantis family and related to some of the masters and lineages of gurus on this planet. So there have been many instances that have helped me understand this connection, but this is a fun one in particular. When I was in a meditative process and popped into a memory of myself as a mantis being, it was as though I was in that body. I was experiencing it like in the first person. And I remember looking down at my arms and my legs, and the arms were doing the like insectoid, thing that praying mantis arms do. And there was just a different quality to the movement. And there was a real excited expression that was happening in this memory. I think this was a future memory. This felt like not like a negative premonition, but kind of a flash forward into the future, because I was having this moment of reuniting, this moment of reunion with other mantis beings on a starship. And it maybe this memory lasted maybe for like 30 seconds to 45 seconds, just long enough for me to feel what it felt like to be in a mantis body, and to feel what it felt like to have that interaction with other mantis beings. And then poof, I was back in my human body in my room. Um, and that instance was, one of those undeniable moments of whoa, like I just experienced something pretty incredible there. And that was not my human body that I was in, like that was just, it was just so undeniable. And so I've had a number of experiences that have helped me understand my, I guess, other aspect, you could call it. We think of past lives, we think of our lifetimes in a linear sense, but technically they're all happening concurrently, which is one reason we can access those other aspects of ourselves at any time. And so I've been on that journey of accessing these other aspects of myself to become whole and complete, and also for the purpose of this grand awakening that's happening on the planet, and bringing through that ET perspective and that ET aspect, which we are starting to remember as humans, as modern humans. So as this year has progressed, I've been studying this ancient Indian lineage, this yogic lineage. And this lineage includes Jesus Christ. This lineage includes Shirdi Sai Baba, a great Indian saint of the early 1900s, and Saint Sri Kaleshwar most recently, who left his body in 2012. And there are many, many other masters who came before Sri Kaleshwar and Shirdi Sai Baba, and masters before Jesus Christ, who have preserved really, really important spiritual practices and spiritual technologies that help us activate our superhuman potential, help us come into a level of mastery if our soul is ready for it. So I've been on that journey this year, and learning more about this lineage of masters, learning more about what these masters did in their lifetimes, learning more about the abilities that they carried. And for a while, I have had the awareness that many of the great masters who have walked this earth were advanced souls who chose to incarnate here to help humanity. This universe is populated with so many civilizations, so many advanced civilizations and advanced beings who have already had this third dimensional experience, who have already had the experience of extreme separation and extreme density, and then have gone through the process of becoming whole again and coming back into that unity state of consciousness, which, by the way, I think the majority of civilizations are operating in out there, which is one reason we're left out right now, because we haven't broken through that threshold. We're close. We're in that painful growth process right now as a civilization, doing the hard work of waking up, and then doing the hard work of healing and transforming and coming back into that state of oneness. Once we're there, then we have the ability to potentially become a galactic, civilization, and travel the cosmos, and become more powerful, conscious creators as beings. So there's other civilizations, other many, 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 billions of souls out there that have already done this, that have already experienced what we're experiencing here on Earth and have transcended it. And it's my understanding that when planets are in the situation we're in, where we are going through a planetary transformation process. We're going through a major transition of eras. We're going through an awakening process. We're going through that hard work of shedding our past and breaking these old negative patterns, hopefully, to move into that higher level expression that allows us to go out and travel the cosmos. When planets are going through that, other civilizations help in ways that they're allowed to. So, evolution has to occur on its own. My understanding is there are a few loopholes for intervention that could happen. One of those loopholes is souls incarnating through the normal incarnation process. What that does is that means advanced souls can come to Earth, forget all of their memories just like everyone else, because they go into this level of density. They go, beyond the veil, where they don't have easy access to that, to the akashic information, to the universal mind, to their soul's information. And if souls are advanced enough, they can move through the process of reclaiming memories, information, and more quickly coming back into wholeness and unity, and then supporting others in doing the same. And this has been going on for thousands of years. And especially while Earth was in a process of contracting consciousness, many masters, advanced souls, have been incarnating to help keep, wisdom alive, to help preserve the spiritual technologies that help human beings come into wholeness and to lead the way. So it's my understanding that other civilizations can support planets in this way. They may not be able to land a ship and say, hey, we're here to help. The level of consciousness of a planet might not support that yet, like ours. But if a soul chooses to come into a body and have a human experience, they can do that. We live in a universe where free will is a thing, and through the normal, quote unquote, normal evolutionary processes, that soul can go through the process of remembering and transcending this current state of duality and the current limitations of the third dimensional experience humans are having. So I've had the awareness for a while that many of the masters, many of the gurus who have come to this planet have come from advanced civilizations. And some of them can come into this planet without karma. Once they come in, some of them start accumulating karma, and then have to go through the karmic cycle of clearing that to then go back to the other experiences their soul is used to having. So there's some complications that come with incarnating on a planet like Earth in that manner, if you're a soul that has already transcended, third dimensional karmic, reality. And so I've thought about this for a while, that like a lot of the people who we have ended up building religions around or have worshipped, these are just other souls who came from other civilizations, who just decided they would do an incarnation cycle here to help. And so we should, again, just think of these souls as teachers. They are just guides, they're not necessarily to be worshipped in the way humans have developed those systems of worship. So as I've been progressing in the ancient divine lineage of Jesus Christ and Sri Kaleshwar, I've been engaging in some different programs. And during Navaratri of this year, 2023, There was a beautiful Divine Mother program put on by the Divine Mother Center. They've done an excellent job um, dissecting, carrying forward, um, sharing the wisdom, the teachings, the practices of this lineage of Sri Kaleshwar, doing their best to pull together the holistic body of knowledge that Sri Kaleshwar taught in his short lifetime. And at the very end of this program, we've been doing ceremony for like 9 days. So the supernatural energy's flowing, the energy's high. Everyone is, feeling, a heightened level of synchronicity and divine connection. If you haven't gone through something like that, where you dedicate a week, 2 weeks, a month to just being in ceremony, in meditation, dedicated to divine spiritual process, do it, because those can be some of the biggest like periods of breakthrough for your soul. And when you practice consecutively like that, the energies build, and you do start to vibrate at a higher frequency, and you start to be able to experience different things. So we're towards the end of this program, and there's a a group chat going for the program, and a woman who's I think relatively new to the lineage, starts commenting about a mantis, a praying mantis that just happened to cross her path or was in her house or something. I'm not remembering all of the details perfectly, but suffice to say, it was this like just really cool, interesting, strange encounter with a praying mantis insect during a ceremony process. And this woman posted about it and said, for some reason, it feels like Sri Kaleshwar was saying hi to me through this mantis, or there was some connection with Sri Kaleshwar, Saint Sri Kaleshwar. And I immediately am like, oh boy, okay. I think we are receiving a little wink here. One, from Sri Kaleshwar, two, from the mantis family. And three, I think this is starting to confirm my suspicion that a lot of the masters from this planet that have incarnated on this planet not only have come from advanced civilizations, but a lot of them have a connection with the mantis race, because the mantis is one of the most advanced races out there. So all of a sudden, this woman's posting about the mantis and Sri Kaleshwar. And so I comment back, with something like, how fascinating. I've actually remembered, past lives in a civilization of mantis beings. This also feels like some sort of nod to the fact that the enlightenment process requires us to broaden our perspective and broaden our understanding of the various races, the various life, and even just the process of how life is created in this universe. So broadening, that conscious awareness of sentient life in our universe is critical for truly becoming an awakened, enlightened human. So I, commented about that in a brief way. And then another woman commented and said, when I was at the ashram in July, I was in the Jesus temple. There's a Jesus temple on the second story of the Shirdi Sai Baba temple. It's a beautiful space, just so, if you ever go, you'll know, like, it's just such a sacred, supernatural space when you enter. And this woman starts commenting about a late night meditation that we did in the Jesus temple. And she says, this is so interesting that the mantis thing is coming up, because when she was in the Jesus temple, she said she was looking at the candles that were lit right in front of the Jesus statue, and a praying mantis flew right into one of the candles and was like playing, kind of dancing and like playing in the candle. And she said it, seemed so supernatural at the time. And then I reply and say, I think I was there. I think I was in the Jesus temple with you that night. And she said, yeah, I think you were too. I'm sure of it. I remember you there. And here, I'm getting huge chills right now. So all of a sudden, we have this really interesting mantis connection that has formed between multiple people in this lineage. And one instance I was completely unaware of that I was present for. So when this happened, I immediately was like, okay. I think I'm connecting some dots here on my star family, the beings who have been guiding me this whole time before I even found the ancient divine lineage of Sri Kaleshwar and Jesus Christ. Before I even found that lineage, for the last few years, I've just been for the most part, following guidance. I've been needing to awaken my own intuition and my own memories and all of that. But at critical junctures, I have received direct guidance from the mantis beings. and and when I found the divine lineage this year, I had a suspicion. I had a suspicion that because of this really intense, deep bond that I felt with Sri Kaleshwar and Shirdi Sai Baba right off the bat, and because that led me to India really quickly, and then again a second time, and I haven't even told you about just all of the things that have unfolded this year. At some point, maybe we'll share more about that. But as the year, was progressing, I had this suspicion that the guidance I had been getting all along was connected to Sri Kaleshwar and Shirdi Sai Baba. And there was this part of me that was like, you guys are from the Mantis civilization. Like you've had lives there, or after the Earth lives, you've gone on to that. Like there's some connection there. And so as time has gone on, and then as this event happened, this was in October that this happened, it just started to connect more dots for me on the fact that the mantis beings are very much connected to some of the advanced lineages here on Earth. I believe they have sent emissaries and representatives to Earth at times to help, to be part of this awakening, to show the way. And it's also really interesting that this praying mantis in the Jesus temple was playing in the fire, seemingly without getting burnt. Because if you listened to one of the last episodes where I shared a mission update about some of the supernatural developments that have happened this year, one of those was this, multiple moments of transcendence during that Navaratri and after that Navaratri event, where I started testing playing with fire. And I did not get burned. And it does not seem like a coincidence that the mantis beings, being some of, the beings who have transcended, so much of our collective reality, that they, would carry those, I guess, like the soul level DNA, soul level information, ability to be able to transcend physical reality. And that's the journey I've been on this year. I've been, testing that and experiencing that. And it's been wild. And there was another instance recently where that was proven again, where I very, stupidly had a kind of a crock pot, like a Le Creuset kind of crock pot that goes in the oven. And I had pulled it out of the oven and I turned away without even thinking. I just lifted the lid of that crock pot with my hand without an oven mitt. And this had been in the oven, and as soon as I picked this up, I felt the heat and I immediately was like, oh, and put it down real quick. And because of the level, of heat, that was there, I should have been burned. And I did two very quick yogic things. I did a command on time. I did a command on the elements, and then pulled the water element to help cool that area, to cool the fire element. And I was fine. That did not burn me. So that was a really interesting experience recently following the playing with fire incident during Navaratri. So anyway, we've got, I think, a developing connection here with the mantis beings that maybe we'll know more about at some point. Maybe more will be revealed. Maybe we will be able to, through various conversations and synchronicities that happen, gather more insight on this. But this is my current observation, mixed with, some memory and synchronicity and clues and signs that seem to be pointing to a mantis connection that is present within this ancient lineage. So I'm really curious if other people have it. I know within the Star Family Wisdom community over the last few years, as I have talked about the mantis off and on, many people have emailed me or reached out commenting on some synchronicity or something related to praying mantises that had been in their awareness, crossed their paths, that felt unusual, that felt odd, that now was making more sense because of this connection I was, articulating. So do you have any mantis connections? I'm so curious. Comment below and leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this. Does this make sense to you? What do you think about the mantis race? Have you, been developing your understanding of these different ET races? There's so much that we don't know, and there's so much that we probably won't know in this lifetime on Earth. But more and more is being revealed all of the time, and it's even through these sorts of connections that develop in these sorts of groups that we learn more. So I'm excited about learning more. I'm excited about opening my heart, my mind to that possibility, and potentially receiving, maybe a more direct reflection of that at some point. We'll see. But I'll link in the video to some of the past episodes on the Star Family Wisdom podcast where I've talked about the mantis beings and where I've done some of my own personal exploration, like through past life regression, and have had very, very clear memory of interaction and, as I said, being a mantis being. So for today, that's what I wanted to share, just observation and commentary on the mantis masters and who they might be, and where these advanced souls might have had lifetimes, where these advanced souls, gained some of their soul level wisdom and abilities that they came to Earth with. So this is just one of those topics that can be so mind bending and so, just like it shatters, the concepts, the beliefs we've had, all of the old paradigm ways of thinking, even some of the beliefs that exist within spiritual lineages are at this time evolving based on our developing understanding of ET races. So, at some point, I want to talk a little bit more about some of the ancient gods and goddesses, archetypal energies, extraterrestrial, paleo contact, and and how we have, this mix of historical narrative, spiritual teaching and wisdom, and also archetypal energetic expressions through these stories and narratives of our many ancient texts. And it's a confusing time on earth because I believe those ancient texts are an amalgamation of all those things, and we have to tease out of those texts, what is true historical narrative versus what is metaphor versus what is the wisdom teaching, versus what is, maybe, as I said, an archetypal expression of the divine in these stories that we can then understand and integrate. So with that being said, I believe that ET visitation and paleo contact has been part of those narratives and is in those narratives if you know how to look at them correctly. So maybe we'll talk about that at some point. So that's it for today. Our Mantis family is saying hello through this episode, I think, and helping us connect some dots. So with that, I'll wrap up and wish you a beautiful end of 2023, a beautiful transition into 2024. It has been quite the year on my end. I am, still finding words for it. And I think everyone's just feeling this like increase in, time, like how fast things are progressing and changing, and there's, maybe a seemingly, more chaotic aspect to life on earth right now, but we experience that when time is kind of speeding up, and we experience that when we go through these transitions of eras, because nature is trying to push us to make a quantum leap, so we're being pushed beyond, maybe some of our limits and perceived boundaries, and sometimes that feels chaotic. So if it's felt like that for you this year, I know what you're feeling, and I see it, and it's just going to be such an interesting year next year. I'm not 100% clear on where I will take star family wisdom. I'm getting some clues and some, ideas coming through. So we'll see. If you haven't checked out the website recently, check it out. There's a lot of new free content, a lot of free ebooks, and a few free resource libraries where you can just access a bunch of different links and content and research that I thought might be helpful for you. So go check that out. And if you are interested in learning more about the divine lineage, connecting with some of the high level teachings of this lineage of Jesus Christ, I would invite you to also check out David Peralta's Words of Mary Satsang, which is just getting started. We're a couple weeks in. There's a link to it below in the show notes. David was interviewed on the Supernatural Souls podcast not long ago, so you can check that out. There's a link to that below as well. And David has a beautiful history within this lineage, and learning directly from Sri Kaleshwar, having Mother Divine Darshan, an experience of seeing God as Mother Divine. He talks about that in the episode, and he's now taking on a new teaching, a new class around a really interesting transcript called Words of Mary. This was delivered by a student of Sri Kaleshwar who, after having completed a divine process, started having this experience of meeting Mother Mary through apparitions of her. And over a long period of time, had many conversations and transcribed her words. It is an incredible text. I'm still digesting it. It has changed me in a lot of ways as I've read it. So David's leading a discussion and teaching on this. If you have interest in that, I invite you to check it out. And that's a perfect, I think, segue to end, and wish you a beautiful holiday season, a beautiful Christmas if you celebrate that. And we can, through this process of awakening, coming into our enlightenment, really honor the season, by focusing on that embodiment of Christ consciousness. Like, that's what it's all about. And I think the Sat song would absolutely support you in that. So I'll be attending. I hope to see you there, and I'll talk to you next year. Bye for now.